rejected, which I've been collecting my own rejections. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday book launch. I am super excited because we're going to have Cindy tell us everything tonight. So excited, Cindy. Thank you. I'm Malika Albrecht. I'm the founding editor of Redheaded Stepchild, and we are open to submissions. So we'd love to see your poems that have been rejected elsewhere. I'm going to do a little brief bio for Cindy. And I love the 100 proof copyediting services. And if you haven't ever seen her Monday posts on editing and things like that, they're really helpful. Plus, they're funny. It is we lamented about the fact that you can't do italics in Facebook posts, which really does present a challenge. Cindy Hochman is the founder of 100 Proof Copy Editing Services and the editor-in-chief of the online journal First Literary Review East. She has been on the book review staff of Pedestal Magazine and has written reviews for American Book Review and many others. She's had 2 poems that have been published in Australian anthologies, Alcatraz and Play, and she's the author of 5 chapbooks, including and I noticed that your friend is here, Bob is here, who is collagist and a poet as well. And y'all have done 1 or 2 collaborations, Cindy.
We did 1 book of collaborations, but we have enough for about 5 more books.
Awesome. Yeah, I felt like there was an ongoing collaboration.
It is.
Her latest chapbook, which is the one I showed, Telling You Everything, was Unleashed Press. It came out in 2022. Cindy resides in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, where she writes, edits, meditates, learns Tai Chi, studies the Russian language, and agonizes over politics. Boy, we need an explanation point after that sentence. Thank you so much for being here, Cindy. We're going to spotlight you. And I just want to remind people, I forgot to announce open mic. We'd love to hear a poem from you. Just send me a quick message from the chat section and I will make sure to put you on the list. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to read for Malika and Redheaded Stepchild. It only took me twice to get in. I did get rejected once, and then someone else took that poem. So, usually, I like to start with a short poem, and the one I always start with is the one that's in Telling You Everything. But tonight I'm not going to do that because I'm going to urge you to buy a copy of the book, even though it's only available on Amazon, and we're all boycotting Amazon right now. But, give Jeff Bezos $8.99 and buy the damn book. So I'm gonna start with a different short poem, sort of silly one. It got published in Haiku-niverse, so it's a haiku, even if it doesn't conform to the 575 haiku syllables. It's called Insomnia, which I think a lot of us can relate to. 11 p.m. and I'm lying in bed with Mozart and reflux. And the second one I'm purposely reading with because it annoys my collaborator Bob so much. He's not crazy about this poem, and I haven't read it in a long time, so it's due. It's called Mythological Porno Poem. I used to sleep with the great god Apollo, but all he ever wanted was oracle sex. I'm sure Malika would not take that poem. I wouldn't either. But I will read a poem from the book, and most of you don't know me, but some of you do. I was blessed to have a wonderful stepmother who lived till 103. She passed away a year and a half ago. My biological mother passed away when I was very young. And this poem is called Losing My Mother at Age 5. Then God told me to say goodbye, and she was gone in a cloud of blonde silk, while I, in all my pink and white gingham, spanked the air and sank into the ground. I needed to be rocked, but she was too busy going from crutches to wheelchair to deathbed to final home. She was too young, and I was too young. A cut finger, an early departure, bionic goddess with legs in chains. I can tell you that there really is such a thing as a death glow. The gorgeous marble eyes, at the moment they turn to stone. The blue breath, the veins pale as winter grass, leaving me to stand alone at the twilight's last weaning. Thank you. As Malika mentioned, the fact that on Monday I do a proofreading post. It was originally to drum up some business for my company, but it sort of took off, and now it has a life of its own. And on Mondays, when I put them up, I always vow to stay away from politics, but the same doesn't apply to poetry. So here goes. This is a prose poem, as a lot of my poems are. The world is a hot and, that's the title. And that's in telling you everything. Okay. The world is a hot and sloppy place, a stew pot of muck and millstone. The weather betrays us as the sooty flue of government blows useless black smoke into our faces. We are a nation of scoundrels and sock puppets. In backyards across America, mangy dogs bury the stars and stripes, remnants of red, white, and blue under partisan gravestones. But here on the beach, we sharpen our shovels and continue digging to China. I have a couple of series in the works. I hope to one day put out some more chapbooks. One of the series is an alliterative series where every poem takes a different letter of the alphabet and sort of runs with it, so that there's a lot of alliteration in the poems, and sometimes too much. And I only have 11 more to write before I have a chapbook. I think I did 16 of them, 14 or 15, whatever adds up to 26 letters. I'm going to read the No F-Bomb poem, which has F in it, but not that word. Far be it from me to infest my free verse with the F-bomb, for this is a family-friendly forum, and it would cause a frightful kerfuffle, especially from people of faith. I refuse to use any word that is fraught with fraud or in any other way flawed. Because if I want to fly up there with the highfalutin folk of fantabulous fame and fortune, I fathom I could go a lot further with fine formalisms that foment fidelity, friendliness, fantasy, and fun. And now, this non-fractious, non-frenzied, non-fallacious, non-foul-mouthed, no F-bomb poem is finally finito. You want another alliterative? T. Let's do T. But I don't have you-know-who in the poem. I sort of allude to him a little, but I refuse to put him in a poem. But it's all in the title. No tea with tyrants. Truth be told, there is no tea poem contained in this alliterative text, and I'll tell you why. Because Henry Ford, the admittedly innovative, talented, and tutored technocrat, was a tenacious anti-Semite with total trust in Hitler's treaties, which is terribly troubling. Therefore, I took the Model T out of this tome, and Tesla too. Tisk, tisk, tut, tut, and too bad. And that does it for the alliteratives for now, because I have another series in the works. I've been doing an I Am the Girl series, and it's under consideration somewhere. And we'll see if that one ever gets published. It's only about 10 poems, sort of a micro chapbook. And I modeled it after, in case anyone's familiar with Anne Waldman, she did Fast Speaking Woman, which she says, I am a bird woman, I'm a book woman, I'm a devilish clown woman, I'm a holy clown woman. And she went on for about 50 pages. I went on for 10 pages. But that's where I got it. And every line in my poem starts off, I am the girl. And several people have paraphrased them and parodied them, which is, of course, very flattering. So this one was published in something called the Poetry Distillery. They're associated with the Poetry Barn, where I take a lot of workshops. I'm sure Malika knows some of the people there, Lisa Kiernan. And I'm the copy editor for their new publishing company, so I'll plug them. And I thought it was interesting that they call their magazine the Poetry Distillery, because that sort of dovetails with my 100 proof copy editing services, which is also ironic because I don't drink. I used to. I am the girl. I am the girl with the badass band. I am the girl with the suck it up face. I am the girl with her face in the soup. I am the girl with her fingers in the pie. I am the girl with the smoke and the mirrors. I am the girl with the cookies and cream. I am the girl on the merry-go-round. I am the girl who frightens the crowds. I am the girl with the harpoon in her tongue. I am the girl with the boilerplate bones. I am the girl who's the Jew in the mosque. I am the girl with all the commandments. I am the girl who started the fire. I am the girl who is sometimes a liar. I am the girl who preaches to the choir. I am the girl who is damned at the altar. I am the girl who melted the ice caps. I am the girl who changed the climate. I am the girl with the slip of the tongue. I am the girl who spilled the confetti. Remember that one? I am the girl with the Russian words. I am the girl with the Kremlin mouth. I am the girl who serves the subpoenas. I am the girl with the slam dunk case. I wrote this during Trump's first go round. I'll do one more. I am the girl poem. I am the girl who gets her hands dirty. I am the girl who muddies the waters. I am the girl who eats all the apples. I am the girl who juggles the plums. I am the girl who stomps on the grapes. I am the girl with adrenaline waves. I am the girl with the carpe diem. I am the girl with the habeas corpus. That's a plug for my book before telling you everything. It's called Habeas Corpus. And it was published by another friend of Malika's, Glass Lyre Press. It's also on Amazon. I am the girl with the pink polka dots. I am the girl with the buffalo plaid. I am the girl with the spandex and leather. I am the girl with the cashmere sweater. I am the girl with the prison jumpsuit. I am the girl with the scarlet letter. I am the girl who pulls your chain. I am the girl who holds the reins. I am the girl who boggles your mind. I am the girl who causes you pain. I am the girl who is Brooklyn tough. I am the girl who is Minnesota nice. I am the girl who's all over the map. I am the girl who won't take any crap. I am the girl who checks your balance. I am the girl who balances your checks. I am the girl who pays it forward. I am the girl who dials it back. I am the girl who paves the roads. I am the girl who makes the trains run. Does anyone here know that reference? It was Mussolini who said he makes the trains run. And I thought that was apropos to our tyrant theme. I am the girl who drinks the vodka. I am the girl who throws the bombshells. I am the girl who's the canary in the gold mine. I am the girl who blows the whistle. I am the girl who prays for Ukraine. And my lineage is Russian and Ukrainian, just for the record. I've got two more poems. This poem has an interesting history. It's called Ode to Rattle. And many of you may know Rattle is a magazine edited by Tim Green. This is also very apropos to what Malika takes for Redheaded Stepchild. She takes rejected poems. I could send you 9 of them. Tim Green turned me down 9 times. But we're still friends on Facebook, and we joke about, he says, send me another one. He always says that. Well, he was doing a humor issue. And I thought I would write Ode to Rattle and put the word rattle in every line. I used to read this poem a lot in person when I was doing in-person readings. I never read it on Zoom because the last line is sort of where everybody has to join in, but we could manage this. So, Ode to Rattle. For the editors of Rattle who turned down all my poems, including this one. Plump babies in their prams and cribs, shaking their revolutionary rattles. Their new teeth rattle and gnash. Some things rattle in the state of Denmark. And this poem has rattled around in my adult head since the first rattle of time, when the earth rattled in its molten core. Do you know the history of the world? How it all began? Let me rattle it off for you. That rascal, the rattlesnake, caused Eve to rattle her seductive fig at Adam. A typical wife, she ranted and rattled. God said, "Go forth and multiply like rattles." And then the red, red rattle came bobbing along. But love is a rattlefield, and they rattled among the ruins. Oh, rattle, rattle, wherefore art thou rattle? Holy empires were built from all this. You remember the story of Romulus and Rattle, civilization and all that, when man took his place among the rank and rattle. But he soon found himself up the creek without a rattle. So he did some saber rattling, and that was the beginning of war, which did indeed shake our windows and rattle our walls. Yea, Bob, still we stood rough and rattle. We fought our own rattles. And when things got out of hand, we just swept it under the rattle. But old age is nothing to shake a rattle at. First, our tires rattle. Then comes the rattle of body parts and bones as we smugly eat our rattle eggs and ham. And before you know it, that old death rattle is upon us, rattling our family and friends, and maybe even those who don't care much for our poetry. That would be you, Timothy Green. It's enough to get you really
Rattle. That's even better.
It
So
works
good.
in public when everyone yells rattle. So you got it. And the poem eventually got published in another humor magazine called Rhyme and Punishment. So it rattled. It got rattled. I'm going to end the reading with the poem that Malika was kind enough to take. It had gotten rejected by Great Weather for Media, which also has a long history of rejecting my work. I don't know why. And actually, I do know why. And they finally took one about 3 years ago, but not this one. They told me it came close, though, but no cigar. It's called Root, and it is also in Telling You Everything. Root, and it's also a prose poem, because as I said, I wrote a lot of prose. Root. You have to go to the root of things, not like bulbs or soil, but times when your mind is a very sad leaf dropping to the bare ground. I've become afraid of things that grow or thrive, even love. Unrest is not always political. When a hurricane blows hard through the precious petals, they don't come back. It's a sticky wicket. But sometimes they do, arriving at your feet with bulging blooms from Emily's wild but prissy garden, and a fragrance that wafts from Amherst all the way to your neck of the woods. And their sweetness engulfs you, sometimes to the point of overwhelm. Maybe this time you allow yourself to sniff it or touch it, or if you dare, to blow through it yourself, just like the hurricane you've been fearing all along. Maybe this time you learn that the root is always there, even when you are not. You just have to let yourself flourish. You just have to let yourself fall first. Thank you.
I still feel so happy we got to publish that poem. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Ooh. See, and I always it's always amazing to me the poems we get to publish, and I think somebody passed on that, but then we pass on things that I know, are infinitely publishable. It's just timing and how things are. It was lovely to hear um those poems all together. And I really thank you for, we had talked about, the projects you've been working on and that are right close to being sent out for publication. I look forward to seeing those ones, particularly the alliteration and that girl poems. And I want to say something that you're going to love the chat section, but Warren cracked me up. You said, I love that girl.
I'm going to read everything in the chat while listening to the open mic.
Say it again. We've got an echo. Let me try. Say it again, Cindy. Okay. Cal, I think we got the echo again, so I muted you and we'll see if that helps with it. Yeah, it was an awesome reading. Do people have questions for Cindy about her process, about any particular poem? One thing I've always Yeah, I know. I have a question. You knew you weren't going to get too far with that. One of the things I enjoy about you is that you have an ability to embrace like very serious topics, but then also have a light touch. And I think that's extraordinarily hard to pull off. And it's something I see in your work, and I very much enjoy that you're able to do that. But it's a mystery to me. Is that something you consciously develop, or is it just part of who you are? I really want to know.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what everyone says. As a matter of fact, I'm taking a workshop now, and the instructor pointed the same thing out. He says not many people can marry dark and light. That's how he put it. I think it comes from a deep place within me. I think that I have both dark and light in me. I've suffered a lot of trauma as a kid, a lot of loss. And I think that there's an inner sadness. But at the same time, I love life, and I love, and also it comes from the type of reading I do. I go from Ogden Nash to Sylvia Plath in one fell swoop. So I think that influences me. I think basically what comes out in my poetry is my personality, and I do have both sides. And it depends what mood I'm in and what's going on in me at the time. But yes, it's a hallmark of my poetry, and I'm so happy you caught that.
Yeah.
That was very.
No, it's striking. I mean, I think it's striking. And the other thing I noticed too, Cindy, is that you have a real deep love of language and how language moves and how to move it on a page.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that is really rewarding as a listener, as a reader of your work.
That's why I love to read poetry. I love sound. And that's why I like surrealism and experimental poetry, because I go by sound. I don't always go by meaning. That's why this workshop is driving me nuts, because they're picking a bone at every word. And my words are not literal. My words come from, the air, and really. They're not supposed to make, literal sense. They're just feelings and words. Like you said, I do love to play with language.
Yeah.
It's probably why I'm a copy editor.
Yeah, that's interesting, but I also think it's all, the idea that, words placed next to each other are a fun activity is what I just heard in some of what you were saying, and I thought that's a fascinating, and I think that that's another thing that I sense when we're listening to your work is just a joyfulness at the opportunity to play with words. That about you?
Um, and as I mentioned to Malika this week, first of all, I'm scheduled for cataract surgery in a few weeks. Meanwhile, I came down with a sinus infection, an ear infection, and I can't hear. And because I suffer from very bad anxiety, we were talking about stress. I have an anxiety disorder. I shouldn't even say that. But my breathing's been a little affected, and I
Yeah.
didn't think I'd be able to read. So I'm just glad to be here. Thank you. And I'm very
You
honored.
did great.
I can't tell you how much I love Malika and her kindness
Yes,
and her editorship. I love Redheaded Stepchild. And
it is.
it's very funny because I am a stepchild, as I mentioned. Not redheaded, but at one time I was. Um, so I had a lovely stepmother, not the proverbial mean stepmother. I was very blessed. I was very, very blessed. She was a tough cookie. Um, she was the only one I know with emphysema who went out during the pandemic. Went all over the place. She did not die of COVID or anything. She never got COVID. She died of old age, basically. Um, and what were we talking about? But I, I'm very grateful to be here tonight, and I want to thank everyone for coming out. Bob,
Yeah.
Karen, my dear
I'm
friend.
glad because I know you were real concerned. It is really hard to read when you can't hear and when you're already having like sinus and breathing problems because and so nobody knew because Cindy,
I'm
you did
glad.
such a professional, wonderful job. So many people put in their fabulous readings. So had you not, been talking about that experience, I don't think anybody could tell because again, I think the pleasure that you have when you read and the way that you enjoy language, what we hear, even in the heavy things, is just this um, pleasure and deep satisfaction of working and creating poems.
That's
And
what my
it's,
therapist this morning, when she gave me a pep talk about how nervous I was, and she
yeah,
said, "You love reading, and you love people, and you love to socialize, and and you love Zoom, and you love poetry. So that's all you need: poetry, friendship, camaraderie, and I appreciate everyone who's here. I want to shout out Juan Mobley, my friend, a client, for being here, and Bob and Karen, my close, very close friends with
yeah.
Jimmy on. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Really, I appreciate it. And Malika, thank you.
Oh, I
Oh,
adore you, Cindy. I have from the first time I got to see your work at before Redheaded Stepchild and then since Redheaded Stepchild. And I think that one of the beautiful things about our Thursday group has been the community. And I love it when we get to see people that we don't see frequently. And I also am deeply indebted to the people that have been the backbone for years now. I mean, this has been 4 years. It'll be 4 years, March 13th. That was our
wow,
first one.
wow.
5 years. Holy smokes. I did not. It'll be five
So yeah,
years.
because it's 2025 and the pandemic started in 20.
Gosh, my brain just blew out from that. I
We're
don't
all
math it
older.
for a reason, but that's 5 years of us meeting nearly weekly. Huh. Well, we've been very blessed. Cindy, thank you so, yeah. Did you make that happen? It was like confetti. What was that?
I send it out.
I love it. Cindy, please note that we were all sending healing vibes and the prayer and hope for swift recovery from the cataract surgery.
Thank you.
And also sinus infection and ear infection. Ear infections as an adult is like having a jackhammer in your eardrum. I hate that sensation.
Oh yeah, I'm doing antibiotic drops every night. I went to the internist last week. He said, go right now to the ENT. So I did that. And I have agoraphobia on top of it. So running around the city was not really what I wanted to do. It was the last thing I wanted to do. And now I have a sinus problem. So I can't breathe through my nose. I'm mouth breathing. And I'm not as happy as I look. But I am happy to be here.
You pulled it off brilliantly. Yeah, I'm just glad that you're here and you will be on our thoughts for next week. I'm sure we won't see you, but if you did want to, I wanted to offer, you can keep your camera off and just listen. And you don't have to do anything, just so that you're with us.
Absolutely. And I want to hear everyone else read at the open mic.
I know. So we will head towards that. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you again, Cindy.
Thank you.
So much fun. I have Elizabeth, Allie, Juan, and Karen. If I missed anybody, let me know. Yeah, I was gonna say Regina and Cal. Okay, good. How did I? And Cal. Okay, good. Thanks, guys. That's perfect. So I will start with Elizabeth and PR. We'll just keep it in the big, all of us together.
Hey, it's so good to see everyone. And thanks so much, Cindy. That's great. I was just gonna read a very, very short little blip. It's not my usual not my usual writing, but and I don't have a title for it. When sirens outside remind you of suffering, stay seated inside. You must sip your tea to calm your quickening heart. Know that all is well. To ease suffering, you must drink the tea of gratitude. Fill your cup. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. You know, Elizabeth, I had seen that, but you sent it to me and it's gorgeous when I read it and I felt very centered. But hearing you read, I was really struck by the language. It's so beautiful. It was heavy on the S's and then we got the cuss sounds and then it was back to the T, easing. Fascinating. There's an actual study done on vowels and emotional states. And it made me wish I had my cheat sheet for that. Because it had some of that element there. It was interesting. Thank you.
I want to know what that study is. Will you tell me if you find it later?
Yeah, I will. I do remember this. Ease, that vowel sound is upbeat and it tends to be there when got more energy, and like oohs and ohs, long O's are more grounding and heavy and oftentimes create like a sense of being haunted. But I'll try to find that research. It was just actually, if I had to think about it, I think it was Kathy Smith Bowers, former North Carolina Poet Laureate, who brought the research to a workshop I went to. So I imagine if you Google her name and something about vowels, it may come up. But I'll try to find that, Elizabeth, because it was fascinating.
I actually was so lucky. I heard Robert Bly give a lecture about vowels, and he basically brought all the classics, like all the lasting poems out, and he read them to us and demonstrated how they each carried, they each had one main long vowel sound that
Yeah.
that went through the entire poem. It was really
Yeah.
fascinating.
It is, I mean, I love stuff like that, but I can get lost down that rabbit hole in a hot minute, but it is fascinating and it is interesting. And so much of it is not conscious, but it is nice to bring it to consciousness so that you can ask yourself, is this something the poem's calling for?
There's
Also,
an opera star and music teacher whose name I don't remember right now, but she does commentaries on the on songs, on the sometimes on the lyrics, but mostly on the way that a singer vocalizes. And I mean, she does everybody you can imagine. I realized after I listened to one for 25 minutes, you know, that's all that YouTube wanted to show me from then on was different ones that she did. But it's very interesting, and it covered some of the things you said and others too.
very cool. Well, that might be something to look up and then send out.
Yeah, I think
I'll go to,
you just remember she's an opera singer and does commentary. Peter Gabriel was the one that she did commentary on that I saw today. If that could help you look it
well, I
up.
think opera singer and Peter
Yeah.
Gabriel might come up. I'm coming to you, Allie, next. Make sure to unmute.
Okay, now I'm going to try to read this poem without really thinking about the vowel sounds that I used when I wrote it. I'm going to do my best. This piece just got published recently in Hoxie Gorge Review, and it is called Body of Work. Body of work, the body of writing, body, writing, writing with a body. The body is always there, making its headache and calves known. You are not, poor thing, a brain in a jar. You are not hooked into the matrix that we know of. You think you know what you are thinking, then a pill changes everything into fog, or the coffee opens the door. What a gentleman, what a lady, what a non-binary explosion of soft skin and fatigue. I hate the single-ply spiral, the thin unspooling, body writing its scattered concepts as contents, and you forget your hunger until you shake it to the fore. See how it reacts to hot water, all those meal smells. The conjuring magic may be a form of disgust. Perhaps it's all smells, all smears and bleeds, like how you leave dishes for a couple days and the hot water reactivates the scents.
Yes, that's a tour de force of stopping me in my tracks and turning a different way. Thank you. So good. Juan, I'm coming to you. Make sure you unmute. There we go.
There we are. I was trying to write Bravo Ali, so I'm gonna finish it after I read my poem, okay? This is a poem that will be the first poem of the manuscript I'm almost done obsessing about. And I think it applies to these times too. It's called The Sacrament of Grapefruit. My mother would spoon the grapefruit's flesh piece by piece out of their casings and sprinkle them with sugar to entice her two young boys to give bitterness a mild and early try, or hide the nature of life's taste. She was taught that God must always be forgiven for not answering our prayers, because we were too flawed, too self-involved, or too damn mortal to understand even a fruit. That was my mother's grapefruit sacrament. Her hope we grew a rind thick enough to live and tell about it, to be ready to face a tart existence, its bitter pulp arranged in strict compartments. Thank you.
Damn. That was amazing. I just want to remind people, please check the chat section. Do y'all ever come away from this open mic going, holy crap? Every single time I'm just blown away with y'all. Juan, it's so good to see you too.
Thank you.
Karen, I'm coming to you. Make sure you unmute.
Oh, this is really great. Cindy, you were terrific, really, and everybody in the open so far. Wonderful, wonderful. This is called Preparing, and it's new, and it hasn't even gone out anywhere yet. Preparing. Some of us are prepared as best as possible. Some of us are preparing to prepare. Some of us are wondering how to make preparations. Some of us are worried about not knowing how to prepare. Some of us are worried they have made the wrong preparations. And all of us are in this, about to happen and already happening, and are ready and getting ready, prepared and preparing, while all the time wondering if it's possible to really be prepared for what's coming.
Wow. I kind of want to hear that again. There was something so beautifully meditative about that. And also it's horrifying in the sense of like what's coming. I just, wow, really like that. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. I have to say that's interesting that it seemed meditating, because I was at Kripalu, which is a yoga retreat, which was a
Yes.
gift, and it was quiet time, and there were no devices, and I just was really writing a lot, and that's where I wrote it. So
Yeah, it felt like how things come back to it themselves, and there was it felt meditative to me. It felt like, but also like something building up and just that horror. How do you contain that? Yeah, I think all of us are walking away. Make sure you check the chat section, Karen, because there's a lot of comments there I don't want you to miss. Thank you. Regina, I'm coming to you. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you. Thank you. Cindy, this was great.
Oh,
Thank you for sharing.
thank you so much.
This poem that I'm going to read is in this book, but it was actually published a few years ago in the Amistad, which is the journal for Howard University. Interesting how it ages well, or in a relevant way. Lest it be built. Powerful and terrified men have tried to carve structures of inclusion from the mush of degradation, scoop the soggy remnants of the rains of deadly days, days that lacked humanity, even less equality. Fragile facades litter this land, representing faux bastions of change, while racism, disparities, and brutality pour through systems molded by hands that move quickly and creep slowly for their own desired ends. Refusing to care that in the process of building, layering weakened bricks with the mortar of fear and privilege results in inevitable impermanence and massive destruction. We are now asked to meet on trembling platforms to accept the contract, approve repairs, celebrate the patchwork on these tenements of horror as we have in days gone by, even now dying earlier and faster, imprisoned quicker and longer, murdered hands up, backs turned, cries and breath broken and obstructed, calling for our mothers, looking for our children. We are even asked to forget who we are, deny our roots of pain and gain, from where we have come, how we imagined and created what we could not access, how we climbed out and moved ahead. Now we are told to hand back our voices. Take the deal. The slumlords of liberty are depending on us. Do not shake their hands.
Holy smokes. Yes, needed to hear that. Do not shake their hands. Gosh darn it. Oh, I kind of want a poster of that. Thank you, Regina. I feel better than when we started, just to let y'all know, even though we've been on some heavy things, I definitely needed to be here. Cal, I've got you written down as our last reader for open.
Good, thank you. Oh,
There you go.
thank you. And by the way, if anybody's interested in having a broadside made on one of their poems, my daughter does that very well. She's a designer, and she's also the designer for my poetry magazine. So I thought I'd mention that.
Katie's great.
All right, where are we? I was, a few years ago, I read a book by Hassan Malehi. I don't know if you know him. He's at UNC, and he is a French scholar who is a big fan of Jack Kerouac, who is Canadian French. And it was about the, anyway, I wrote a few poems related to Jack Kerouac, and this was one about a segment of his book On the Road, where he talks about an old man who is wandering along the Susquehanna River in Pennsylvania. It's called Ghost of the Susquehanna. It's the ghost of the Susquehanna again, still hitching or hiking up or down old Pennsylvania Route 322 to Canady, where there's an important meeting. Got to put on that new tie from the old cardboard valise, stick it under the big gray-brown beard, and give them Canucks the message. But he's walking backwards. Well, not backwards, but the wrong way, unless he's going back to New York, New Jersey, or is it south or west, like Daniel Boone to found the new Kentucky. What is he doing still roaming the banks of the river near Harrisburg? The old hobo's been hitching for 50 years, and at least 3 out of 4 wrong directions on that same paved road, out of the Depression, and seen the ups and downs in the night jobs and the day jobs. Why are we still making cars? Shouldn't we all still be selling 15-cent hamburgers, working at Walmart, pushing petroleum food in cases of water in thinner plastic bottles, and plenty of beer to make the bitter medicine go down, promoting the great American pastime, drinking and driving? Still, the old bum keeps going in these damn circles up and down the old Susquehanna riverbank, lost but still on the road to somewhere, if not Canady and then California, the Sun Belt, the rising South, South Bronx, South Asia, Southampton, South China, South Park, relentless pursuit, nudging bumpers, cutting corners, round and round, forever counterclockwise, Superman undoing time, forever up and down that same old river run past Eve and Adams, from swerve of shore to bend of bay, driving drunk. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, thank you. Yep.
Like that.
The circle is the lack of direction, moving backwards and counterclockwise. There was a lot of that movement, Allie. Good call. Yep. Yeah. Cal, make sure you check the chat sections. I'm going to give you a minute because I don't want you to miss it.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
sometimes realize that if I push too soon, ending the meeting, the last reader may not get a chance to
Yes.
the comments. So trying to stay a little bit more aware about that. Cindy, thank you so much.
Thank
Just
you.
such a treat. I really, you really lifted me. And great to be in y'all's company, the open mic. What's a gig? I just think we've got, I
That
don't
was
know.
a great open mic. Wow. Now I'm
Yeah.
inspired.
It's like magic. It truly is. We'll be celebrating at some point with Regina's book, and I'm looking forward to that. And I will get a new list of people I'm booking up until April or May. We've got some real powerhouses coming. Just like always. Yeah. Regina. I don't know why that made me cry. It did.
It's
Thank you
okay.
guys.
You can cry if you wanna.
I just did. I don't know. It just touched my heart. Thank you. It was really good to be in y'all's company. Good to see y'all. Be well.
Thank you.
Bye.